You know when you watch a modern thriller movie, right? There's always that one quintessential scene where the protagonist is trapped in a safe house.
Oh, yeah, pitch black outside, the power is totally cut.
Exactly. And there's this heavily armed squad just silently circling the perimeter, just waiting for the order to breach. It's completely built on claustrophobia.
Right, because there's a threat right outside the door and literally nowhere left to run.
Yeah, so today, for this deep dive curated specifically for you, we are stepping into that exact scenario. Except, this story is nearly 3,000 years old.
Which is pretty wild to think about.
It really is. We are exploring a single gripping primary source today, Psalm 59, from the English Standard Version of the Bible. Our mission is to unpack this high-stakes ancient text. We want to look at its vivid imagery and the fascinating psychology of facing an imminent life or death threat.
And to really understand the stakes here, we have to look at the setting. The text describes this as a miktam of David, so it was likely composed to be sung or chanted. But it was written during a literal stakeout.
Like an actual ancient stakeout.
Yeah, exactly. The sitting king, Saul, was violently jealous of David's rising popularity. He saw him as this massive political threat. So Saul actually sent men to watch David's house, basically to assassinate him in the morning.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because the way David describes this hit squad is just terrifying. He says his enemies return each evening, and they are howling like dogs.
Yeah, prowling about the city.
Right, prowling around, and they have swords in their lips. They arrogantly think to themselves, who will hear us? You can practically see this armed squad pacing outside his windows in the dark.
What's fascinating here is the psychological contrast David creates to handle that sheer terror. Because on one hand, he claims absolute innocence. He insists that, for no fault of mine, they run and make ready.
He's done nothing wrong.
But on the other side, he completely dehumanizes his attackers. Like, he doesn't describe them as elite soldiers or anything. He reduces them to feral scavengers.
They just wander about for food, right?
Exactly. And they growl if they do not get their fill. It's very animalistic.
But instead of panicking at the sound of that growling, David visualizes a totally different reaction from above. He imagines God just looking down and laughing at them.
Holding them in derision, yeah.
Which brings up a massive contradiction, honestly. I mean, if God is just laughing at these guys, you'd think David's next logical step would be to ask God to strike them down.
Just send the lightning.
Exactly. Send the lightning, clear the perimeter. But his actual request is completely baffling. He says, and I quote, "Kill them not, lest my people forget."
Wait, what? It's a surprising pivot, for sure.
Right, because if a burglar is trying to break down your front door, you want them gone instantly. You want the threat neutralized. Why on earth would you ask for your would-be assassins to be kept alive?
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, we see a really brilliant psychological survival mechanism at play here. For David, this isn't just about quick relief. It's about lasting symbolic justice. He asks for them to totter, or wander, as the footnote suggests, by divine power. He essentially wants them trapped in the pride of their own cursing and lies.
But wait, isn't leaving an armed squad of assassins alive incredibly risky?
Yeah.
I mean, you're basically asking to keep the danger right on your doorstep.
It definitely sounds risky. But think about what happens internally when he reframes them this way.
I mean,
By viewing his enemies not as this imminent, overpowering threat, but as a future living monument to justice, he totally strips them of their power to terrify him.
oh wow, so they cease being monsters in the dark.
Exactly. They become a public lesson. He keeps them around conceptually so that everyone will eventually know that God rules over Jacob, which means the nation of Israel, to the ends of the earth.
So by turning his attackers into a symbol of defeat, he can mentally survive the night. And I guess that explains the massive emotional pivot at the end of the text.
Yeah, it's a huge shift.
After all that howling and terror in the dark, David suddenly resolves to sing aloud of God's steadfast love in the morning. He starts calling God his fortress and his refuge in the day of distress.
It really is a profound shift. The men might still be outside, but his perspective has moved from the prowling danger to his ultimate protection.
Right, the psychological grip of the stakeout is completely broken.
And that happens before the morning even arrives.
That's incredible. So when you feel surrounded by modern anxieties, do you find yourself hyper-focusing on the howling dogs in the dark, or do you look forward to your morning fortress?
And that raises a really important question for you to take away today. If this ancient text views justice as leaving enemies to wander as a public lesson, Well, does true victory actually require the survival of your adversaries so they can witness it?
Man, that is a heavy thought to chew on next time you feel like you're trapped in that safe house.